So what all things we did yesterday? So very first thing which we did was business entity, creation of business entity and configuration for business entity. Then building, what all things are required under building. We have done configuration for building, and we have also done configuration for land, that is property, and we have created one property. Yesterday we have gone through all the configuration that are required under rental object. So if you remember, we have gone through all the usage type, rental pool space, rental space, then how exactly you can manage vacancy, what is the vacancy reason, how does it cater to the business requirement. Then again, how exactly vacancy and notice are. Now today what we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to create one rental unit. Okay. So this is a T code. Please make a note of it, guys. REBDRO. Okay, you can use your business entity which you have created. Click on create, yes, and drop down over here. If you see in drop down, rental unit codes, not this one, not usage type, Pradorsha, just can you go to rental object type. So over here we are going to use a rental unit as of now. Okay, the pool space, rental spaces are there, but as of now we are going to use rental unit. Okay, you can select a rental unit and assign one usage type which you wish to assign. Now over here, just a second, over here can you see land and building? Both of them are having no, can you click to the right of that on the blue screen rather than on, no, just click beside that, on to the right on the open blank blue screen. Okay, just click on that scroller screen wherein you scroll your screen
Yeah.
up and down. Yeah,
Okay.
and go up once again. Yeah, okay. If you see prior to that, your land and building are having a mandatory checkbox, right? To the left of that box, yeah, this mandatory checkbox is there. If you click on building over here, yeah, click on that. Now, if you see, land is also having mandatory checkbox, right? Now, when we enter building number over here, so this mandatory checkbox doesn't mean that you have to enter land and building both. It means either of them you have to enter. So when you enter building number, the mandatory checkbox for land will disappear. So, and click on enter. Land
Then
mandatory checkbox has disappeared. That means it initially system was asking you that you have to enter either land or building. So once you have entered either of them, other object mandatory checkbox will disappear. Okay. Now you want to go to name of RO. Click on name of RO and maintain a name of RO. Now validity from and to date. So can you see the validity from and to date is coming from your business entity? If you remember, we have maintained a validity from and to date for our business entity. So this is coming from that. Now, if you'll try to enter some validity, so from date you can select as 8th of July 2024, and to date, for to date you can select just a second. Okay, Prudvarsha, you have created to date as 30th of December. Ideally it should be 31st of December. Okay, so after
yeah,
this
sure, sure.
session you can change it. So now what we'll do is we'll assign to date as 31st of Jan 2025. 31st of Jan 2025. Now see,
Yeah.
below, if you see, the system itself is throwing an error. Click enter. No, click enter. Just click enter. Click enter now. Okay. Can you see below, there is an error coming that object validity, the time period is from this to this. That means is not completely contained in the time period of 30th of December 2024. What exactly system is saying over here is your business entity validity period is until 30th of December 2024, although you have entered 31st of Jan 2025. So you need to change either your rental object validity or your business entity. Okay, so over here what we are going to do is we are going to change our rental object validity. You can just copy paste it from below. You
Copy.
have, yeah, copy paste because it is from okay. Go to additional data. Now over here, can you see yesterday we have maintained part of building, floor to floor, location of floor, elevator, neighborhood is something of free text. Part of building yesterday, if you remember which part of building we did maintain, so you can select that. Floor we haven't maintained because there were already available floors. Whichever floor you wish to select. Two floor, can you
Two
click on
floor.
two floor? Okay, so this one is floor to floor is
Floor to
something
floor.
like if one whole floor is considered as one floor, like two or three are let's say there are some duplex apartment, okay, that particular two floors will be considered as one floor. In those cases it will be floor to floor. Okay, now location on floor, you can select no, location on floor, second on left, right, because in part of building we have also selected the same. So in neighborhood, if you click on neighborhood, okay, there are no standard entries available. Okay, so in neighborhood, what you can do is we can also maintain neighborhood over here in our configuration. So when we maintain that, it will appear here over here. So now go to occupancy. Okay, now over here, can you see occupancy, reason, vacancy reason, and all valid from valid to date? Yeah, over here. The third column is vacancy reason. If you do F4 there, so these were the vacancy reason which were there yesterday, right? Select reservation, posting term. Again, if you remember, posting term is nothing but your account determination value. So if we define any of the account determination value, then it will appear over here. Okay. So this is how you maintain your vacancy reason over here. So now you can remove the vacancy reason because we are not going to consider it as vacant. Now go to measurements. So over here you can maintain what are the total area of overall rental object. Measurement type, if you see M050 is there, you can select another drop down, like instead of number of person for apportionment, you can over there only you can select that total area,
Okay.
floor area. So select the total area, top one, scroll up,
Floor
scroll
area.
up.
Floor area.
There's one more available at the top, total area. Yes, now it has taken effect. Now, after you have maintained it as total area, you have to also assign the amount of area, like the number of area it is, right? So let's say 1150 is a square feet area of that apartment, 1150. Not over here, it will be date. No, 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 no. Left to that. So measurement from and to date. If you see from and to, it is something like a date which you need to maintain. So let's say if you want to specifically align that, okay, owner comes that and say that right now I can only out of 3 BHK, I can only provide you with 2 BHK, and the remaining one bedroom which is there, I'll provide you from first month, like second month of the contract. So until then, you what you will do is you'll maintain at as 1150 as value for 2 BHK. Okay, from 1st of July until 31st of December, 30th of December 2024. Once we have received the rest of the remaining area, then again we can change it. No, sorry, not no. The due date will not be 31st or 30th of December. It will be until the end of the month that we are supposed to utilizing only 2 BHK. Once we have the 3 BHK, the wholly space available with us, then again we are going to have a new line item added over here. Okay, it will be starting date will be from let's say 1st of August until 30th of December 2024. So that amount will be somewhere around let's say 1400. So that is how you can maintain it over here. So for now, we'll keep it as blank only. And the rest things, if you see on the tab part, fixtures and fittings are there. So fixtures and fitting, if you go to fixtures and fitting, yesterday I have mentioned that if you want to, so yesterday I have mentioned if you want to assign any kind of features of your apartment of your or your property to the particular rental object, you can do that as well. So Prudosha, you can assign one of the fixtures and fitting over here. Yeah, you can select that wood flooring. So if you scroll down, So over here, can you see additional value, additional information, valid from, valid to dates are there. Additional value is nothing but what extra cost you have incurred to create or to add this particular wooden flooring to your apartment. You can maintain that as well. So how does that help us is when we pull out the report at your rental object level, then we'll be able to identify, okay, this much of additional value we have put in. Although those value already always will be posted on general ledger account as well, but this is something for on your rental object level, that what extra cost you have put in. So this is what your fixture and fitting will be. Posting parameters, if you go to posting parameters, again posting parameter conditions we are going to assign in your contract rather than rental object, because in contract we'll be having multiple scenarios over there, so we'll have to get to do that over there. Conditions, if you go to conditions, so condition is something that we create or we assign to a contract and rental object for our financial posting purpose. So through condition our financial posting get determined. Okay, so rest fields are not required as of now. You can click on offered objects, please. Can you see any of the offered objects over here? Can you
No.
click on that binocular first icon? Yes, exact. Click on exact. So what exactly you're doing over here is you're trying to search, find an RE search over here. If you remember yesterday, I'm like mentioned, if one customer or one prospect comes in and ask us that, okay, I want a 2 BHK fully air conditioner with two balconies, and hall like the living room should be of Italian marble and the bedroom should be of vinyl flooring. So for that kind of research, if you want to assign anything, you can assign it over here. Okay, but ideally it is like it is kind of offered objects will be triggering from the contracts, and it will then get assigned over here. And if you click on assignment also, so assignment is nothing over here. It will be like functional location assignment, and which all contracts are assigned to your rental object. It will, once the contract is assigned, it will appear over here. And now, can you go to architecture and other screens? Architecture, again, it will flow in from your architectural view, same as the other objects. Meter, can you click on add? So measuring point, measuring position. So if we are, let's say, if for any kind of service utilities project, if we are maintaining a contract, we are like measuring rental object. So let's say for any of the service utilities, if we have any kind of contracts available, and if you want to mention the details of that, what will be the measuring point, what is the measurement position, description of the meter, we can also assign that over here. And if you click on measuring point above, below that, if you assign something, assign some value. Okay, you're not able to, it's
Not
not a
able to
free
enter.
text.
Yes.
Okay, okay, I'll do some configuration changes and we can go through it tomorrow then. Now you can go to next tab, settlement companies. If you remember yesterday, I have mentioned that if the particular contract and rental object are relevant for service charge settlement, then it will appear over here. Okay. So next is resubmission, and last one is overview. So in overview, we get to see all the documents, change document, posting document, and all, right? So it is asking for profit center. Profit center is activated, so it is asking for profit center. Can you do one thing? Can you assign one of the profit center? Functional area also needs to be maintained. First one only, you can select the first one only. So this error is coming ideally for because the profit center accounting is activated. That is why. Okay. Now we have created a rental unit of this. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a pooled space. Okay. So again, go to REBDRO, click on create. Now instead of rental unit, select pooled space. If you want to use land, you can use land as well for one of these examples. Yeah. You can remove the RU because it is not RU. You can create mention as RO, rental object. Yes. Valid from valid date and true date should be same. Now, no need of maintaining vacancy. You can go to measurement. Yes, over here, select total area.
Total area.
Now in capacity, what you are going to do is in capacity, maintain value as 25,000. And in posting parameter, you need to remove the comma. System will automatically pick up the comma. Yeah, that is fine. Even 2,50,000
Yeah,
is fine.
okay.
Even that is fine. Not an issue. Yeah. Usable area.
Yeah,
No, it is fine. Total area you have selected, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Click on enter. That's that's it. Yeah. Now go to posting parameters. Assign on the profit center and functional area. Yes. Now check. Click on check button and see whether it's error free or not.
Yeah, no, right.
Done. Okay.
Yeah,
So now you can save this. So what exactly we have maintained over here is we have created a pooled space. Okay. Now out of pooled space, what we are going to do is we are going to create a rental
rental.
space. So now again go back. Let this screen be open. Slash OREBDRO. Do slash OREBDRO. Create a rental space in similar manner. Just instead of usable areas 2,50,000 or 25,000, mention it as somewhere around 30,000. You have not selected your pool space. Can you go one step back? Okay, now create on click on create. Select rental space
Pool space.
and assign pool space. Yeah, it should be. I
Oh,
think.
oh, sorry. I think
Can you go
it
to your second screen and see what is the rental space number, pool space number? You have the other screen open with you, right? Yeah, two. It is two. Continue. Yeah. So now automatically it has taken the land, building, or whichever it is, and your other details, that is usage type is cold storage. Now you need to enter your name of RO, validity from and to date. So maintain it as RO rental space, test and your name. Total area. What was the amount in your pool space area?
2 lakh.
2,50,000. So do one thing, select 30,000 over here. Now add your posting parameters over here. So it has already come. Okay, click on check and see whether it is error free or not. Error free, right? So now you can save this. Now your rental space has also created. Now if you go to your pool space, yeah, over
Yeah,
here and click on measurements. So if you see your measurement, total measurement area is 2,050, 2,50,000 area, right? Now if you click on refresh above, if you see refresh option is there. Yeah, this one. Okay, go back to that rental space, edit, measurements, and instead of total area, maintain it as usable area. Requested measurement type is not available. Assignment of okay, can you close this error screen? On that measurement type and do F4 there. Okay, this has selected this one. Okay, okay, okay. Now you can save it. Okay, change it to do F4 there. Can you select usable space A003, usable space, enter, and select,
Let
do check, click on check. Totally go out of the screen, and while getting out of the screen, it will ask you to save. Do no, and get back to the screen again. Measurements, total area is there, right? And again, go back to pool space. And if you click on refresh, okay, ideally the 30,000 amount should be deducted over here. I'm not sure why exactly it's not picking up. Let me check that manually. Can you click on edit over here? And do you see manual option is there at
yeah,
the end? Yeah, can you untick that? Change. No, no. Why is it has removed all of it? Can you refresh it? Now try adding it in edit mode. Can you try adding it again? 2,50,000. Okay, it is by default picking up as to requested measurement.
see now here we're getting
Yeah, now it is coming up over here. See. So there was some error in pool space only. Can you save it? Can you try to save it? What exactly it is saying? The measurement amount 30 M2 is not available. A0,
I think
A001. Close the screen and click on enter again. Check button or save. Unlimited overlap. Measurement A00 time from 31st of. From why exactly it is taking from date? Okay, over here the date has been added from. Can you remove the from date as well, please? And again get out of the screen without saving. Enter back again and go to measurements. Okay, at least this one is there. Do one thing. Go to the rental space, edit and delete this line item and save it. And again go back to pool space and try to add over there. Yeah, 2,50,000 and measurement from and to value should be blank. Now go back and try to add rental space measurement.
yeah,
Yes, the
total
same one. Yeah, this one only.
enter
And
30,000.
amount should be 30,000 and measurement from and to value should be blank. Enter and save. Okay, and can you check now on pool space whether it is appearing when you do refresh? It is not still appearing. Click and refresh. Can you do refresh now? Once in edit mode. Okay, I'll check on this. I'll check on this and get back to you why exactly it is not appearing. Ideally, it should appear over here. After deducting 30,000, your capacity value should be left off 2,20,000. Okay, that is how it should function. If it is not functioning right now, then some config might be missing. So I'll do those config and let you know what all changes I have done. And after that, we will cover our contract management. Can you see my screen? So in contract management or contract life cycle, what all activities do we have? The very first thing in contract after creation of rental object is to create a contract type. What do you mean by contract type? A contract type is like whether we it is a lease in contract, lease out contract. If it is a leasing contract, then how exactly we are going to cater to multiple leasing scenarios. Let's say I have a leasing contract for vehicle, Then that is two wheeler. I have a leasing contract for car. I have a leasing contract for office equipment. Then I have leasing contract for building, land, furniture. All of these can be catered individually uh, based on the contract type. So what do we mean by contract type, and why do we have to create individual contract type? So ideally, when we are trying to create, when we create individual contract type, that means we are using it as a reporting purpose. If there is a financial reporting requirement that each leasing contract we have has to be reported individually in your financial statement, then what we can do is we can create a contract, individual contract type, and create another condition type for the same contract. So the condition type determines your general ledger account. So that is how you can cater to the requirement. Okay. So in contract creation, the very first thing is we create contract. Then once the contract is created, and all the attributes or all the characteristic of the contract have been maintained, just like we did for rental object and building. Then we save it, and after saving the contract, we activate the contract. Okay. Activating means we are mentioning that okay, now the contract has been created and it is ready to post financial entries. Unless and until the contract is not activated, we cannot post any of the financial entries. We will get an error. Okay, so we have to make sure once the contract is created and saved, we have to activate the contract as well. Now after creating or activating contract, we have posting financial accounting. Okay, so what does it mean is your periodic activity, wherein on a periodic basis, on monthly basis, you will be running some transaction code from REFX. There are some specific transaction code like rewrap is there, receipt is there. So receipt will come into picture if your like your IFRS 16 has an implication, and rewrap is like if apart from IFRS 16, whether be it your IFRS 16 or not, you have to use rewrap. Rewrap is used for invoice posting. Okay, then comes your adjust the condition. So let's say there is any change in condition. Initially the unit price of the condition was 10,000, and after 1 year the unit price has been changed to 13,000. So if the particular change, it will take an impact on your overall cash flow as well. That is future cash flow, not the past cash flow. Correct, because you, when you change the adjustment, like when you adjust your condition type, you need to specify the validity from when exactly you need to change the condition. Based on that, it will change, and from there onwards, your cash flow will get updated. Okay. After that, enter sales report. Enter sales report will come only in those scenario wherein we have sales based relevant contract. So we have three type of contract. One is normal contract, second is service charge settlement contract, third is sales based contract. So normal contract is wherein you have already decided what is your unit price and what will be the escalation of your unit price across the year. You will maintain it. Sales based relevant contract is you have your basic rent available in your contract. Apart from your basic rent, there is some certain condition in your contract wherein it determines that okay, after a certain sale of your either unit or your amount. Let's say if particular unit have sold 1,000 articles or 1,000 pieces of their products. After 1,000 pieces, the tenant and the landlord owner of the property has an agreement that once the tenant reaches 1,000 pieces of units and it has surpassed that, after 1,000 pieces, the tenant is supposed to pay XYZ amount on the each unit that particular tenant has sold. Okay, that is called sales royalty, sales based relevant contract. Okay, and for those whatever sales has been done across the month or across the quarter, or year, whatever the terms are within the contract, how exactly they want to report, Based on that, they will upload the sales report. Now, after uploading the sales report, we need to also perform the sales based relevant settlement. So, sales based relevant settlement, as in, as I mentioned, that after 1000 piece, whatever amount have, whatever units have been sold, let's say 300 more unit have been sold. So, what exactly the contract determines on each unit, how much exactly the tenant is supposed to pay apart from basic rent. So system will calculate that and settle that amount, and it will also identify that particular amount and add it to your contract for that particular period. Okay. Then comes your service charge settlement. Service charge settlement, you guys are all already aware of it. I did mention that I have given you an example of a mall wherein common places are being shared by multiple tenants. So if any of the common expenses like electricity, water, generator cost, or any of the maintenance cost is there, that will be settled between all the tenants or all the rental object. Okay. Deadline monitoring is nothing but to identify when exactly the contract is getting over, what is the end date of your contract, and at the end date of your contract, whether the contract is supposed to renew or not. So if the contract is having a condition that either of the party can renew the contract, then and both of them agree that okay, the contract can be renewed, then renewal of the contract will happen. Renewal of contract, that means again the tenure of your contract will get extended, and it can happen within REFX contract itself. Okay. And let's say after renewal at some like the end of the tenure, second tenure which is there, at the end of the tenure, tenant decide that okay, they do not want to continue and they would like to give a notice, then they will give notice on your contract, and the ideally the contract will get terminated. So this is the overall life cycle of your contract. Okay. So we'll move forward. Contractual relationship. What type of contractual relationship will have in terms of leasing and lease out contract? For leasing, I may have already mentioned that leasing will be your with your landlord or vendor. Landlord is your another BP role, and FI vendor will be your primary BP role through which your financial accounting posting will happen. Okay. What are the types of contract for leasing scenario? It can be service contract, it can be sales contract. Apart from this, it can be also a day-to-day basis contract, that is a normal scenario contract. For lease out, it is with tenant, which is a customer, and it can be internal contract, also it can be an external, based on the cost center WBS, and order will be assigned to that. So lease management processes, these are the flexible processes and these are the integration. So if you remember at the start, I have mentioned to you that REFX does have integration with a lot of other module, cross module as well. So these are the module wherein REFX has integration with. So for project system, property structure, like what all things are coming into REFX from each module. Okay, that is what it is defined over here. Like from project system, property structure will appear. Okay. Then from FI, your obviously your accounting entry and inquiry related to RE will come. Then CO is your like contract offer and controlling. Like after the contract has been offered, then what, how exactly it will be there, how exactly the settlement will process. Then plant and maintenance. Let's say a particular plant is there. Out of that plant, like certain output is there and certain assets are being managed in that plant, and those assets are also being taken on lease or leased out. We can manage it through PM module. Then comes your MM. For MM, again, if any of the purchase order, or if we have to integrate purchase order directly into REFX, we can do that. CRM is one of the module which can be integrated. DMS is nothing but your data management system. All the data, all the contract. You can also, let's say you have a physical copy of your contract and you want it to be saved on your contract itself, like SAP contract itself. So you can scan the copy of that contract and upload a copy of that contract to your SAP contract number as well. So that is what your data management system will be. Apart from that, in data management system, you can also send out your invoices, just like we send out your our physical soft copy of our invoices from finance. We can also send it out. Okay. GIS and AEM, I have mentioned this. These are the integration for architectural. Okay. So what all things are coming under flexible processes are property structure, RE search, code, contract, offer, contract, billing and revenue, invoices, services, rent uplift is one of the thing. Rent uplift is nothing but your escalation in your rent. Okay, so when we'll go through the contract, we'll show you how exactly can manage this. Accrual and deferral. So accrual and deferral will come in one of the scenario wherein, let's say, the tenure of contract is of 5 year, and the terms of payment of your contract is at the every year. For every year, you need to pay the year value at the start of your contract, either start or at the end of the contract. So the payment of the contract will be done for a year, once in a year, but you have to recognize that particular amount across the period. So in those scenario, you will have to use accrual and deferral. Okay. Then renewal and termination, I have already mentioned over here. Like renewal and termination is nothing but if both the if the contract has those terms and condition available in it, then you can renew, and if not, it will get terminated. So again, this is the same lease in rent services, lease out rent services, how exactly it gets flown in. Landlord agreement, site is nothing but your rental object, tenancy agreement, tenant. Then it's come to your financial control. Okay, coming to your contractual relationships. The contract type, as important attribute of the contract, determine which process you can display. So I did mention you there are multiple type of contract: lease in, lease out, service charge, sales based, and normal contract. Within normal contract, you also have ROU and non-ROU related contract. So what is ROU? ROU is right of use asset. So ROU comes into picture when IFRS 16 is impacted. So as per the IFRS 16 standard, IFRS 16 determines that if either of your contract value is either greater than your 5,000 USD, or the contract tenure is greater than 1 year, then those particular contract should be recognized as ROU contract. That is, a right of use asset should be created for them. So what is the purpose of that? So from 1st of Jan 2019, IFRS 16 has mentioned that all those leases which were there or mentioned as operating leases in your balance sheet. If you remember, we have two type of leases. One is financial lease and second one is operational lease. Okay, so IFRS 16 depicts that now you should not have any of your operational lease. All of your operational leases should turn into financial leases, and we should create a right of use asset for that. So that is where your IFRS 16 comes in we REFX cater to that requirement. Now coming to contract type, service charge settlement participation only for the contract type defined as lease out. Not necessarily lease out, it can be lease in also. Service charge settlement can also be for lease in scenario as well. It is not necessarily for lease out. Okay. Process for lease out and lease in. Contract type is defined as customer or vendor in customizing settings. As I mentioned, like if it is lease out, it will be customer, and lease in, it will be vendor. Own use, third party use, or GL account contract, external contract, internal contract, GL account contract category. So we can also create a contract within intercompany. That means we can have a contract with one of our subsidiary companies, and we can, rather than assigning a business partner through GL posting, also we can manage that. Okay. So we do have that functionality while defining your condition types. We'll be seeing all of those requirements. Okay. Contract management. Terms are nothing but you mentioned, let's say you have a 2-year contract. Now, out of 2 year, your cash flow date starts from second month onwards. As in, the first month is a rent-free month. Like we have gone to our owner and we have mentioned that you have charging a lot of rent and the deposit also too high. We won't be able to pay. Or there are some of the scenario wherein the owner offer a rent-free period. So rent-free period as in period wherein owner will not be collecting any amount from the tenant. So those period can be maintained as rent-free period. That means when the cash flow for those period will not be activated. We have to skip the cash flow for those period, and we have to start our cash flow from the period where exactly the tenant is, like the owner is supposed to receive the amount. So that can be managed in your terms. Okay. Condition, as I mentioned, condition determines what GL account it will the contract will be posting to, and how exactly it will be posting to, whether it will be debit, credit, how exactly. Notice and extension is same. Date management, again, date management is nothing with the validity of the contract. Okay. Distribution. Distribution is something like, if you remember, I have mentioned that one contract might have multiple partner. So how exactly you're distributing the cost or the revenue to the partner. So that can also be signed, like managed through this. Document management is again same. It comes under DMS. And once the contract is activated, these are the processes which you need to follow. First one is periodic posting. For periodic posting, as I mentioned, rewrap and receipt are the transaction code which we will be using. Second one is, once the rewrap is done, that is invoice posting is done, then the payment of the invoices should be done. That is either receivable of payment or making, like paying out of payment. That will be for vendors in cases, right? Then open item, once payment is done, if any of the open items are there, like for lease out scenario, it might be a scene wherein only partial payment has been done and partially the invoice might be open. And if some payments are in due, then dunning will be performed for those invoices. And then comes your real estate controller. So until this, it will come under REFX. That is, until periodic posting, it will come under REFX. Post periodic posting activity, it goes back into finance. Okay. So these all activities will be performed through finance. These all activities are not performed through REFX module. Okay. So REFX, the very basic like responsibility of REFX is to create invoice. Once the invoices have been created, then REFX role comes to an end and the finance role starts over here. So overview on contract management. When creating a contract, you first specify the contract type. I did mention whether it is lease in, lease out. Then you specify the contract term. Contract terms are nothing like what will be the start date of contract, end date of contract, what will be the first cash flow date of your contract. These all things will be maintained under term. This contract term includes the start and end dates, the contract, along with the data about giving notice and renewing the contract. One more thing, in term tab of contract, there is called renewing and notice. Renewal is also available under the term tab, as well as the notice is also available. Okay. So like renewing, we have two option available, that is either automatic renewal or manual renewal. If it is automatic renewal, we have to maintain some specific period how exactly it will get renewed or for automatically. And if it is renewal, manual renewal is there, then for how many tenure. So in some of the business scenario, there are some cases like if a contract gets renewed, then a standard renewal terms are there, that once the contract is renewed, it will get renewed for either at least for 1 year or 2 year. So based on that, we can configure those value, that 1 year value and 2 year value. So when the renewal, when we perform the renewal, we can select, if it is 2 years, then we can select 2 years value. Next, you assign to contract any object that are going to be leased in or leased out. So object is nothing. Again, this is your rental object. So all those object, rental object or rental unit which we have created, right? Those will be assigned to your contract under object tab. Apart from rental object, you can also assign asset, WBS, cost center, all of these object as your to the contract. Okay, and you can also assign land and building as well, but it is not recommended. If you're using rental object, it should be your rent, the last object should be your rental object, which should be assigned to your contract. Apart from rental object, if you are using anything, you can assign asset, internal order, cost center. Then one more thing you also have is called contract object. Contract object is something wherein you need not have to create either like the whole REFX hierarchy, that is business entity, land, building, and your rental object. You can directly like assign your contract object into the contract. Rentals can either be external or internal. You make this distinction for the respective contract type in customer customizing. Okay, rentals can be either external or internal. That means it is totally determined through the contract type. That is, either it will be your leasing contract or lease out contract. For for lease out, you have to specify either a cost center, a project, or an order. Okay. So why exactly cost center, a project, or an order? Why you cannot assign asset? You can also assign asset over here. Okay, asset is also one of the thing which you can assign as your object in your lease out scenario. Rather than creating a rental object, let's say we have an asset created under asset accounting called let's say vehicle, like a four-wheeler is there, which is owned by one organization. Okay, and that particular four-wheeler is also created as an asset. So we can assign that as an object in your contract as well for lease out scenario. Okay, if the lease out is an external one, you must define a main contractual partner in the partner data. A customer or vendor is created for this partner. It is used for posting all relevant receivables and payables. I hope you must have already got this. This is nothing but vendor and customer business partner needs to be created. Conditions. Terms of payment are agreed on between the contract partners and generally apply to regular payment for the use of the object specified in the contract. Condition contains information on the agreed payment amount and how they are calculated, the payment frequency and payment dates. So agreed amount is nothing but your monthly payment, either that in leasing scenario you are going to pay, or lease out scenario you are going to receive. So what amount you are going to receive or pay is maintained in condition tab. Okay. Apart from that, what is the frequency? Frequency as in whether the amount is supposed to be paid on monthly basis, quarterly basis, half yearly basis, or annually. Okay. We can maintain all of this aspect over condition in this as well as in posting parameter tab. Okay. And payment date, that means either the payment is supposed to happen in advance or in arrears. Arrear is nothing but at the end of month. Okay, so like for postpaid bill, what we do is we pay our bills at the end of month, right? But wherein if we have rented out any apartment, what we do is we pay our rent to our landlord, landlord in advance, correct? So that is how we can manage over here. So these are the basic example of condition type: basic rent, accounts payable, operating cost, elevator, flat rate, rent reduction. So let's say how exactly rent reduction can happen. There are two scenario wherein we can manage the rent reduction. Either we can directly update on the basic rent. Let's say we were having a rent of 10,000 per month. Now, due to some circumstances, the rent has been reduced to 9,000. What we can do is we can either update the basic rent as 9,000, or we can add another condition type as 1,000, which will be crediting this amount. Okay, so that means plus 10,000 minus 1,000, net of it will be 9,000. Okay, we can manage in both the ways. Ideally I would suggest that we manage it on basic rent, because on cash flow we have the amount available. Okay, from when exactly the particular cash, like the rent has been started, so from and to dates are already there. If it is a requirement from business that they want this particularly identified and it to be posted to some other GL, then only we can create this condition type as a separate condition type. Okay, so some of the business might want to understand rent reduction is nothing but they might be giving a discount, and they might want to post it to some other general ledger account. So in that scenario, you can create this condition type. Condition authorization object, calculation method, condition purpose, validity from and validity to, unit price per condition amount. Unit price per condition amount is nothing but your calculation method. Again, whether it will be a flat amount, fixed amount, or it will be sales based relevant, or it will be a fluctuating amount, we can determine over here. Terms, again, posting frequency and organization. If you remember in rental object, while we were going through the rental object screen, there was in under posting parameter, there was posting frequency and organizational tab available within a posting parameter tab. So in posting we determine what will be your tax group, tax type, what will be your, which all business partner will be having what percentage of the amount. In frequency, again, this is where we determine what will be your frequency, monthly payment, quarterly payment, annual payment. These all things will be determined over here. And in organizational assignment, if you remember, we have assigned the profit center. While creating rental object, we were having that when we used to click on check, system was throwing an error that profit center accounting is activated. You need to assign a profit center. So we went to posting parameter, and under organizational assignment, we have assigned profit center. Then we have functional area over there, and calculation of your unit price, calculation formula. And if you have determined that your calculation should also be based on your measurement type, then we can determine that as well. And then comes your distribution formula and area type per unit. Okay, now coming to condition type in terms of how exactly it post. Okay, so this is one of the example. There are two example, one is for cost rent and one is for actual rent. Okay, in this contract, if you see, there is a basic rent available of 2,000 euros, then an operating cost is available of 150 euros, and parking lot fee is available, that is 45 euros per piece. Per piece can be like the number of parkings provided. Okay, now contract related document condition that can maintain in the contract. The second scenario is cost rent, wherein your rental object kiosk is created. Condition market rent. Basic rent is there 1,500 euros, and operating cost is there 150 euros. Object related to condition that can be maintained on RO. Okay, vacancy rent, market rent, all of this will be maintained over here. So condition purpose, you create management contract as real estate contract, for example, with contract type third party management vendor. You can use this contract to enter condition for calculating and posting management fees. You can enter the following calculation method: fixed amount, a calculation based on area, object measurement, share of contract conditions amount, share of object condition amount, contract measurement, sales based. Amount per object, amount by rental status, amount per tenant changeover, share of condition group. You can also define your calculation methods using a body. How exactly the condition calculation happens? Distribution formula, like if we have assigned basic rent of 1,000 per month and operating cost of 300 per month, and we have also maintained the measurement. So this is how the system will calculate the overall calculation at the end of like based on the total area that has been occupied. So over here if you see 200 square meters of area is there, one, and out of 200, one has been created as 60, and one has been 60 square meters, and second has been created as 140 square meters. So based on that, system has calculated the office rent, 300 for this particular unit and 700 for this particular unit, and operating cost is 90 for this particular unit and 210 for this particular unit. So this is how, based on the area also, we can distribute the form. What are the other aspects of condition calculation? Distribution formula defines how exactly and how cost and revenue, which are first posted as a cost accounting relevant assignment to the contract, should be distributed to the recipient object. The following internal distribution rule exists: divide equally, object, object measurement, contract measurement, aggregation, settlement unit, customer define using BADI technology. Okay, BADI technology as in if we have added something new. So we'll cover until posting, periodic posting, and for I think periodic posting will cover tomorrow, because it will be something we have to cover once we have gone through the contract.